Hello folks, welcome to the Vinson Voice, a weekly program where we tell you what's happening at the Carl Vinson VA Medical Center in beautiful Dublin and Lawrence County, Georgia, and around the VA. I'm your host, Dr. Frank Jordan, and with me for today's first segment is an old friend to the show and an old friend of mine, not old, but longtime friend. Let's not say it like that. you look like you're 18 still. But a good friend of the show, Miss Jennifer Johnson, she's one of our RNs, and she is a whole health nurse these days, and there's a lot encompassed in that. And so we always want to have a whole health segment on the show, and I'll tell you why. Because even though a lot of people are seeing whole health as kind of a new idea, it's really not. The whole leads to holistic, which is exactly how you want to provide health care to people and how you want to safeguard your own health. So whole health, even though we've got a service line for it and some programs devoted to it, it's really the way we do health care here. And so the public can benefit from that too. So we want you to know about whole health from the veteran's perspective and how you can help with that or how you can benefit as a veteran or family member. But we also want to do our part as a public service to get this information out to anybody, because what goes here for our veterans is just as useful for you folks out there in TV land in safeguarding your own health and those of the people you care about. So Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, what do you want to talk about this week?
So today I want to talk a little bit about tobacco cessation.
Oh, yeah.
Because as a nurse and as the Health Promotion Disease Prevention Program Manager here, of course, we have to talk about things that we can do to be healthy. But how do we tell people what to do?
They don't like that.
They don't. How do we suggest making yourself whole? We do that by helping you make goals around what you value.
Yeah.
And so why tobacco cessation today? Well, our health promotion, disease prevention topic of this month is to be tobacco free.
Right.
Well, there are certain things that we talk to veterans about, like whether you smoke, dip, chew, or use tobacco in any form. As a nurse, yes, I want to say don't do that. However, how do we incorporate whole health and preventative care?
Yeah, and then now remind me if I'm wrong, correct me. I'm trying to learn all this good stuff. But we have what's called a whole health personal health plan.
That's right.
PHP, is that right? Okay, I got that right. Personal health plan. What's cool about whole health to me is you're in charge as the patient. You design it. You decide what you want to do. Because you, in theory, know better than anybody else what you're really going to commit to. But it amazes me, I always tell people, every year we talk about this on the show and other places, and I always use my own experience. When I was 19 years old, I was a 3-pack-a-day Marlboro smoker, Marlboro Reds. I mean, if I was awake, I had a cigarette in my mouth as much as I could. Now, back then you could do that. Literally, I was an addict, and I didn't know about being an addict, and I didn't know all the bad things. We knew generally lung cancer is probably as much as we knew about what cigarettes can do to you. But it turns out, anyway, I quit when I was 19 because I didn't like, ironically, because I didn't like being controlled. It really wasn't about my health. I just didn't like knowing a substance was running my life, so I didn't like that. So that's psychological reactance, which is what we run into with a lot of people that don't, when you try to tell them to quit, they're going to do it because you told them to. They're going to show you kind of thing. But I was amazed to learn over the years all the things that tobacco use in addition to things like lung cancer. I mean, it just wreaks havoc on your body, and it's like literally every time you smoke or do that dip, it's like an injection of harmful chemicals in your body, like you're literally taking a syringe. And
that's right.
just fascinating. Diabetes, I was amazed at what it did to folks with diabetes.
That's
I had no idea.
That's right. And so how do we incorporate whole health in that? Well, of course, we want you to be safe. So we want to give you some suggestions about how to make better health choices, but with whole health, it's about asking, would you like to talk about your tobacco use? Well, most of the time, just like you did, you named off many of the things that smoking or dipping can do to you. Often people already know those things, and they've heard it. So how do we help you quit? Well, through Whole Health, we do tobacco cessation groups, and they're over Video Connect, and we partner with our primary care pharmacists. And evidence shows us that if you are willing to take or use medication management and behavioral counseling, like our groups, that's the most effective way to help someone quit. But before you can get there, it has to be your idea.
The motivation's got to be in place.
Your plan. And sometimes you can really be motivated. Two things can be true at one time.
Yeah.
You can know that they're bad for you. You can know, but there's another side.
It's Jennifer, it's like, even if it's like oftentimes people really aren't motivated to make the change. So nothing anybody tries to help you with is really going to bear fruit because you don't have that basic motivation. But on the other hand, there are times when you genuinely are motivated, that's when you really need that framework to tie into. So people like training wheels, I guess. It's kind of like having training wheels on.
And when you were talking about the personal health plan, if that's a goal a veteran wants to make, then how do we partner?
Right.
Telling you.
So you've decided you want to do it. I'm here to coach
That's
you
right.
along and help you. That's
And
right.
often, even when somebody wants to, it takes an average of 6 to 8 attempts for someone to quit.
Yeah, I tried to quit several times in high school, and it didn't take fruit. Did one time, ironically, finally quit one time for several months, not understanding the nature of addiction. I started dipping. Skull was a big thing back in the day, and when I took that first dip, it was like taking a needle and putting it on.
But not just that part. There's another piece to that. The piece is that your body is addicted to nicotine. It's a drug.
Right. It's a drug.
And people don't understand this, but often our veterans stay to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They don't realize that smoking or dipping or tobacco use is a learned behavior.
That's right.
And it has to be unlearned.
That's right.
And you can do that, but how do we partner to do that? First, it has to be your goal and your plan. Also, not being so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
How do you deal with slips, stumbles, trips? We don't like to look at it like, you know as well as I do. I know you personally, and I'm a lot like that being raised by a Vietnam veteran Marine. We set our goals really high.
Yeah, real high.
And so if we do have a slip or a trip, a stumble, maybe we've quit and we started back, maybe we think nobody can help us. So we work with you by giving you more tools in your toolbox to better help manage your health, by helping you quit, but also helping you to realize that if you build that as part of your personal health plan,
Right.
how do we do it together?
That's right, and it turns out there's a lot in that. As far as the compulsion, ironically, when I did the research over years after I quit, it turns out cigarette smoking, tobacco use can be so hard because it's a double bind, they call it. It's addictive and it's compulsive. You've got literally physiological addictive properties and then a lot of habits that go along with it. You got to break up. So it is a challenge, but like I said, but it turns out just writing down your plan, making your intentions public, those kinds of things actually really do work. And the big thing though, like you said, if you were off walking through the woods trying to go somewhere and you got off the trail and got a little bit lost, you wouldn't just lay down and quit. You'd say, well, I got to get back on the trail somehow. That's
and not beating yourself up along the way.
Yeah. Everybody gets lost.
Everybody
gets off the trail.
To the end.
That's right.
The journey.
That's right.
We learn new behaviors.
And I'm gonna tell you, folks, if you're not taking it, if you're a veteran and you got all this whole health stuff here available to you and you're not taking advantage of it, I'm telling you, you're messing up. Because you can actually go find your motivation. You may not have it right now, but you can find it. And it may not even be your personal health. It may be I want to be around long enough to play with my grandchildren or see my daughter or son graduate, get their college degree, whatever. But that motivation, there's a lot of different places it can come from. You just have to find it for yourself, and then we can get to work helping you. But again, visit VA websites. That information is available to anybody. You don't have to be a veteran or a family member of a veteran. Just put in VA, smoking cessation.
SmokeFreeVet.gov.
SmokeFreeVet.gov. Lots. There's an app out there, I remember.
Right.
There's just too much to do to get off this stuff. So Jennifer, thank you for being on the show again. We'll have you here. We're gonna have you here every week, pretty much, I think.
Sounds great.
So we'll see you next week for the next topic. You don't know what's coming up in December, do you?
I
Stress
do.
management, isn't it?
It is.
Oh man, I was way ahead of the game with that
Hey.
stress. So when you come back, we'll talk about stress management in December. All right.
And maybe even stress management with tobacco cessation.
Oh, that's good. Actually, that's a good combination because that's right. I like that. So see, you're smart. All right, folks, we'll be right back with more Vinson Voice.
Allen's Heating and Cooling is your licensed Amana equipment dealer. Trust Allen's Heating and Cooling to install and service your heating and cooling unit. Allen services all brands, and with the purchase of a new Amana, offers a lifetime compressor warranty. Call Sean Clark or any of his friendly staff at Allen's Heating and Cooling, your Amana dealer. Amana lasts and lasts and lasts.
All right, boys, if you want to go to college, you have to clear out another one of these.
What if we told you there was a better way to save for your kids' college than pickle jars? Morris Bank's Savings Builder account and Moolah makes saving for your kids' college easier than ever. All you have to do is connect the account to your debit card, where it automatically rounds up your purchases to the nearest dollar, depositing that spare change into a Moolah account where it will grow into a nice little nest egg for whatever your kids have their sights set on.
Hello folks, welcome back to the Vinson Voice. Now in this next segment we'll be talking with a really good friend of mine, Chief Keith Griffin of the Center for Development and Community Engagement.
Civic engagement.
Civic, I can't get this right. One more time.
Development and civic engagement.
Community
Development
and civic engagement. Long word for the guy who gets out here in the public and does stuff like what you see behind us. This is another food giveaway here at Carl Vinson in conjunction with some of our community partners, and the Chief's going to tell us about it. Chief, what's going on?
Yeah, so we're having our 11th food drive here at the VA Medical Center, and we always partner up with Middle Georgia Community Food Bank out of Macon, Buckhorn Food Ministry for the love of the community here in Dublin. And it's just a wonderful time. You know, we just had the holidays, and whenever we can sort of give back to our community, we all know what the prices are looking like when we go to the grocery stores. And a lot of people are really struggling with food insecurity. And so whenever we can partner up with our community partners and be able to provide a resource like this here, not only does it help our veterans, Frank, but it helps our citizens in the community.
Yeah.
And as you can see, we got a big turnout today. I'm expecting we're probably going to get about over 350 boxes.
Oh man,
But what's so unique for me, as you can see, the people that are doing the work, a lot of those are volunteers from the community.
That's right.
And that's what I truly enjoy, just the community support to come out and help us put this event on.
That's the most fascinating and enjoyable part to me, Keith, is the community coming together for stuff, because we know that human beings have a natural tendency to pull together in times of need, and this just demonstrates that. And today we got great weather for it. It's some of the best weather we've had. It's nice and cool, but it's not cold. I love this little breeze blowing. But the other thing is the enthusiasm these folks put into it when they're out here doing it. You can tell they enjoy it, they feel good about it. We get a good response from the people who participate. And like you said, if you just do basic numbers, we know for a fact that's at least 300 people. They're going to get some help they need, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So we talk about, I know we get donations from different people. What's some of the things that the folks can expect to get here at the food giveaway?
Oh man, so today we got chicken, we got corn dogs, we got non-perishable items, we got rice, we got canned beans, we got produce, you know, just a wealth of stuff. Got fruits as well, got apples as well. So got a little bit of all the necessities in the food box today. It is just truly a blessing to see the items that we have and just see the look on the faces of the people that we give the boxes to.
That's right.
I mean, Middle Georgia Community Food Bank has really stepped up, you know, with this particular food drive. You know, the last couple of food drives, we didn't have meat. They were running low on it.
Yeah.
But today they brought chicken and they brought corn dogs. So it's just a blessing to be able to have that.
I tell you what, another thing we want to give a shout out to everybody out there in our community in Middle Georgia and beyond, really, who contributes that food. It's, you know, it's not just individuals. We got businesses in Middle Georgia here that are very generous in donating this food, and it has to come from somewhere. And so you got people going out to solicit it. You got businesses and individuals generously contributing it. And I always like to hit them up, Keith, let them know what you do makes has a real world result out here. There are people, if you've got a decent job and you can afford the food, even with the inflation that's going on, fine. But if you can't, a little bit of help can go a long way. It can make the difference between people having a decent holiday or even surviving in some cases. Yeah.
And let me piggyback on that, Dr. Jordan. You're right. So we had one of our groups here in the VA, our STEP class.
Yeah.
So one of their projects, one of their initiatives for their class was to raise non-perishable items for the food drive. And they collected over 10,000 pounds.
10,000 pounds?
10,000 pounds. So my team delivered 10,000 pounds of non-perishable food items to Middle Georgia Food Bank.
That's incredible. So what Keith is talking about, our STEP class here at Carl Vinson, if you're not working for us, you better keep an eye on USA Jobs. Come out here and work with us. But we've got a lot of really cool employee career and leadership development programs that we teach here or hold here at Carl Vinson. Our employee education folks put on, they do a fantastic job. But STEP is just one of those. It steps toward employment promotion, and then we have eval, emerging VA leaders, and then we have HOP, which is higher opportunities for promotion. So these are really comprehensive classes that these folks take. They get different classes, they get mentoring, et cetera. Goes on over a number of months, and the result is we get really good employees ready to do the job. But they take on projects, like Keith said, and most of those projects are community facing. So things like CFC, Combined Federal Campaign, and the food drive, but it's always something like that. They always we let them choose their project, but they always gravitate to those community-facing events. It's just fantastic to watch. Yeah. Keith, so you said this is 11, man. It seems like we just got started, but we've done 11. That's fantastic.
We've done 11, yeah.
How often are we doing these?
So we usually try to do one quarterly. And so, like I said, with my community partners, what we do, Buckhorn Food Ministry and For the Love of Community and the VA, so we rotate it.
Oh, okay.
So when Middle Georgia Community Food Bank calls us and have the next one, so it was my time. So the next time we will have one, if I had to guess, it'd probably be in January, and it'll probably be For the Love of Community, usually down at Oconee.
So they take turns hosting it, basically.
Right, we take turns hosting. But also what we do, we go and help our community partners. Today it's here on the VA. When it's over at Oconee Community Center, my staff, we go over and assist them. When it's at Buckhorn Food Ministry, we go and assist them.
That's fantastic,
so that's the
man.
partnership that we have.
And I tell people, it's very, to us, it's not just civic engagement as far as, being good members of the community. It's smart business for us is the way we see it. Interacting with our community, we build those relationships, those networks, and that's the same for you folks out there. When when you're making those contributions and you participate with us in these events we're putting on, we're starting to come out of COVID, so we're trying to have more events here at Carl Vinson again. And when they take those shackles off with COVID, we're really going to kick it in high gear. We're going to have a lot of good stuff going on. So we want to make those connections with our community. We want to show people that Carl Vinson VA Medical Center is a vibrant part of this Middle Georgia community, and we already know what's out there. So we want to show that we're all together on this stuff.
That's correct.
That's right. So Chief, you stay involved with so much.
Yes.
I have to think you got a twin somewhere that looks just like you, but so I tell you what, keep us informed. Let us know any events you got coming up. Hey, let us know, because these folks in Dublin, Middle Georgia, and Middle Georgia community, they're going to want to be involved. But also let them know, where can they donate some food for the next one?
Sure, you can call me here at the VA or one of my team members anytime you want to donate some food. We'll even come pick it up.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but just call me.
I have loaded my pickup truck.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You can reach me at 478-277-2729. 478-277-2729. Or you can send me an email, keith.griffin@va.gov. And just give me a call, and we'll set up an arrangement, and we'll come and pick your food up, or you can deliver it here at the Carl Vinson VA Medical Center.
Curb service, folks. We'll come get it. Like I said, I have loaded up my Piggly Wiggly's donated, Kroger,
Yes.
a lot of our community friends have donated. I've loaded up my pickup with that stuff and been glad to do it. So just let us know. Keith, thank you for the great work you and your folks are doing, this wonderful collaboration with these other community members. And folks, we'll be right back with more Vinson Voice.
Badcock Home Furniture and More is your home store, where you'll find great savings on new living room sets, sofas, love seats, recliners, and more. Badcock Home Furniture and More has great savings every day on bedding and bedroom sets. Shop Badcock Home Furniture and More for a great selection of dining room sets, and save every day on electronics and appliances at Badcock Home Furniture and More, 1927 Highway 441 South in Dublin. Call 275-3144 for more information, or stop by and see Wendy and Tim Sumner or any of their friendly staff today at Badcock and More Home Furniture Store, where no credit is ever refused.
F. Lake and the staff at Lake's Alignment has been serving Laurens and surrounding counties since 1954, offering you the best in suspension, alignment, and tire services. And now Elp and Lisa Lake are proud to announce the addition of Neil Harden and our 24-hour truck, trailer, and tire repair facility with state-of-the-art equipment. Lake's Tire Facility is conveniently located to I-16 and all roads throughout Middle Georgia. Call on us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for truck, trailer, and tire repair. Call 272-4230, serving the Southeast for over 65 years. Lake's Alignment, and now 24-hour truck, trailer, and tire repair.
Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Vinson Voice. Now, that's the holiday season, and that's a season of merriment and joy and appreciation and thanksgiving for what we have. We know it goes on a few months and beyond, really, if you count New Year's Eve. So it's always something that most of us look forward to, and we should. However, there's also a higher incidence of things like suicide during the holidays. Lots of reasons people are socially isolated, don't have those social connections that keep them healthy and make them appreciate their lives. So today we got Dr. William White, who's one of our suicide prevention coordinators here at Carl Vinson. Dr. White, welcome back to the show. We had you on before. We wanted Dr. White to talk a little bit about suicide prevention, maybe particularly at the holidays, and then mention some resources that folks can remember. Even though VA designed these resources explicitly to reach out to our veterans, they're available to anybody on the internet. Anybody can go, this is not like secret stuff. You can go on the internet, you put in Veterans Affairs on a topic, and you're probably going to get some really cool stuff anybody could use. So, Dr. White, welcome to the show.
Thank you, thank you. As you said, I mean, this is the holiday season. We just celebrated Thanksgiving. But these times can be tough for veterans and really anyone who is missing their loved ones or who is still recovering from COVID or maybe have lost loved ones during COVID. And this is the time where we really need to connect with others. We need to tap into our resources, and if we're struggling, don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah, and it's interesting you mentioned COVID. Number one, I always we've been dealing with that almost the last 3 years, and it's amazing how much that has accentuated some of the social isolation issues. People have had to stay home. We've come out of a lot of that in recent months, but the effects are still lingering for a lot of people. They lost those social connections, those friendships they were depending on. Now they're trying to rebuild it. Now you're in the middle of a holiday cycle, and then the other thing you mentioned that I always like to hit on is the families, the support folks for our veterans, because we have a saying, they also served who stayed behind. So, these veterans went in harm's way, but they had wives and children and parents and other people who care for them. They had to wait behind and offer the support and worry about them, that kind of stuff. So they could benefit from that material too, Doc. Yeah. So let me ask you this. I know that we know that if you have those social connections, your health gets better. And we know another thing I recall from my studies is that if you have those social connections, you're less likely to complete suicide. But I think a key thing is reaching out, right? Being
Correct.
proactive.
It's the time to reconnect.
Right.
When you get that invitation, let's go and let's celebrate. One of the things, folks get lonely or they deal with pain and they try to deal with the pain by themselves.
Yeah.
And when you try to deal with it alone, you don't recognize that there are other people that may be struggling with similar issues, and there's strength in numbers, and there's help available. The biggest thing is talking to somebody about what's going on and not going it alone. And that's why we have, the 988 number, and we encourage veterans or anyone that's struggling with those feelings, because the feelings and the pain often are temporary. And after you talk to somebody and get some assistance, most folks find that things are different. And then they have the space and capacity to enjoy the holidays.
Yeah, that's what they say, Doc, is suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary issue. And I've talked myself to many people, really, who had tried to suicide and didn't complete it, or literally contemplated it, and they were amazed afterward in some cases that they even tried that they couldn't believe that, because the thing that seemed so monumental then that just couldn't be dealt with, they got a little help, and guess what? Boom. They couldn't believe that they were considering that route. And you mentioned the crisis line number, the 988 thing, and our producer Greg Swartz is going to flash it on the screen for you guys. But it's easy, 988, keep that in mind. But again, that positive, proactive contact. If you are in crisis, leaning that way, your mind, reach out for somebody to help you now. Don't wait. VA's got great resources, but sometimes, like Doc said, just talking to somebody. Reach out to an old friend you haven't talked to in a long time, an old service member, a church member, whatever, your bowling team member, it doesn't matter, right? Yeah.
That's correct.
That's right. And then the other thing is, don't wait on the veteran. Don't wait on the person. Let's just say that. I always have my veterans in mind, but anybody who's in this situation. But don't wait. If you suspect that person's in crisis, reach out to them and try to make that contact. It's amazing. I personally sat up all night before with people who were in the midst of some type of emotional crisis and were considering suicide, and just sitting there and talking for, sometimes it was 8 hours, but you know what, in the end, totally changed their perspective afterwards. So, and Doc, what other resources would you suggest that people avail themselves of to help someone in crisis?
Well, again, 988, again, that's the main number. There are other resources in your local area. You can dial 411.
Right.
And make sure, you know, if you don't know, just ask. Shoot an email. Again, connect with the VA. There are a number of resources that the VA has. And if I don't have the answer, I can point you in the direction of somebody who does.
That's right. And I'd always bring, you know, I study a lot on human behavior, neuroscience, and that kind of stuff. And this always reminds me of the bystander effect. There was a famous case back in the late 60s, a lady named Kitty Genovese was killed, was over a course of time. She went on for a couple of hours, people heard her screaming, they actually saw her, but nobody actually did anything immediately. Now, some people interpreted that as a callousness, lack of caring. That wasn't it. It turned out that what really happened was everybody else thought that somebody else was going to do something. So they weren't unfeeling. They just honestly thought, you know, the next guy over there probably already called the police or something like. So it turned out it was just an informational thing. So don't make those assumptions. It's okay if we get 20 calls about a veteran in crisis. Who cares? The point is to get that call made and get that help to that veteran. And again, if you're a veteran, the resources are there, folks. I understand if you're in the midst of crisis, that's all you can see at the moment. You got that tunnel vision, that narrow focus. Don't give in to that. Again, it's temporary. We can help and we will help. Just call that crisis line. Call 411 like Doc said. Do whatever you've got to do to reach out and make that affirmative connection. Especially, again, during the holidays, it can get very pronounced for people. So use those resources and be here for the next holiday, and your life will be different, right, Doc? Doc,
That's
anything
right.
else before we close it out?
Happy holiday to you and yours, and we are here to help.
There you go. I couldn't have said it better myself. Doc, we appreciate what you and your team over there do in suicide prevention. Y'all do great work. Y'all keep it up. And folks, again, our producer Greg Sawyer is going to flash that number on the screen probably 2 or 3 times now that I've put it on film and kind of obligated him. So write down that number, remember it, and again, reach out, folks. If somebody needs help, if you suspect they need help, I used to be a chief of police. I used to tell them, folks, if you think you need the police, you need us. Call us. Don't wait. So do the same thing if you think someone's in crisis. And we will be right back with more Vinson Voice.
Hi, I'm Mark Tarpley, Color Supply and Engine Service. Bad Boy Tractors. We're building on the legacy of Bad Boy brand, introducing a brand new line of small, medium-sized tractors that maintain our history of combining power, performance, and build quality while delivering highest value in their class. With a tractor size to fit any farm or property from landscapers to ranchers, Bad Boy Tractors are positioned to be workhorses in the field. Coupled with our line of Bad Boy implements, cutters, you are all set to make your workday feel less of a chore. Come visit us at Cullen's Engine Supply, 910 East Jackson Street in Dublin, or 826 South Harris Street in Sandersville.
It's holiday season here at Dublin Nissan, and we're getting ready for family. So we have our biggest inventory of the year to prepare for the parties. Whether it's the Titan, the Rogue, or the all-new Frontier, or any other new Nissan, we have your selection here. If you're happy with your current car, you can bring it by to our service department for all your maintenance and repair needs. And don't forget, Don sells Christmas cars well, from our family to yours.
We wish you a happy holidays from Dublin Nissan.
Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Vinson Voice. As we close out, I want to say, number one, as always, thank you to TV 35 WDIG for giving us this half hour every week to talk to you guys about VA-related issues, veterans' needs, that kind of stuff. Really appreciate it. It's fantastic to have this time to share with you. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you'll tune in every week. And not only that, we'll hope you go to YouTube and look at some old episodes. Virtually all of our old episodes, going back years, are on YouTube, so you can go and watch anything you want. You can see me when I was a little skinnier and had more hair. Who knows? But do that, and then get on our Facebook page. I always tell people, please get on Facebook. If you've got a Facebook account, go to our page, Dublin VA Medical Center, like the page, and then share that good stuff you see. And I'm telling you, it's a patriotic act, and here's why. Because we put everything out there that'll benefit our veterans and their families. And if you share it, You never know when you're going to reach that veteran that needs us, just like we talked about a few minutes ago with Dr. White and suicide prevention, especially during the holidays. Hey, Veterans Crisis Line, we put information about that out there. Upcoming events, we put information, stuff we do with our community members, food delivery, it all goes on that Facebook page. Our Deputy Public Affairs Officer here, Mr. Jim Huckfeld, is faithful about it, loads it up. So go to Dublin VA Medical Center on Facebook, like the page, and then share it. And also keep your eyes out for upcoming events. As the pandemic restrictions are reduced, we're starting back something that we were doing years ago, and that's having a lot of events here at Carl Vinson. We want you to come in and see how your tax dollars are spent and what we're doing to care for America's heroes. In April, we're expecting the opening of our brand new outpatient and women's clinic. It's going to be fantastic, so we'll have a grand opening for that. And then also in April, we're planning our 75th anniversary as a VA medical center, so that's going to be a big one, and we're going to have a big event for that we're going to invite the public to come in and share with us. So just keep your eyes open. And then the other thing is, if you want to volunteer or you want to bring some kind of event here to entertain our veterans, reach out to us here at Carl Vinson. You can either reach out to me, Dr. Frank Jordan, at frank.jordan2@va.gov, and producer Greg's going to put it on there for you, I'm sure. Or you can reach out to Chief Keith Griffin down in our Community Development Civic Engagement section. It used to be Voluntary Services. He'll be glad to help you out too. But again, we hope you'll watch the show every week, and we'll see you then.